Hi, this is Judy Bonilla with Encore Chat, the conversation for older entrepreneurs. And when I say older, I'm thinking that can be age 20, 30, or 40, because when I was 19, I thought older was anyone who was just a year older than I am. Our focus here is really entrepreneurship, and having that conversation is that we are going to have several careers, and each of them will be an encore of what you learned in your last career. So joining me today is Carol Lawrence of Social Media Help for You. Welcome to the show, Carol.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Carol and I met in the early days of Blab, and we've stayed in touch, and I was fortunate to be able to book her for this show. She's a social media trainer out of Montana. She's a published author and also a community manager. And Carol, can you fill in any of the blanks I might have missed?
Yes. Let's see here. Well, you got my company, Social Media Help for You, and I help busy business owners who are spending their time running their business, understand social media, know they need to be on there, but they don't have time to do it all themselves. So I help fill in the blanks and amplify their brands online on the different channels. And I also can do training, one-on-one training with people who want to learn how to do it themselves, which, as we both know, if you're an author, it's good to know how to do your own social media and amplify yourself out there. The more people see you, the more chances you have of them buying your books.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something, I was going to say, we think about authorship in the realm of popular books, and help me out with the correct language, but I also know there's academicians out there who are writing their papers, who have either a philosophy, a project, a thought that they want to share with the world. Being able to get your work reviewed by peers and others through social media can be really powerful. So when you say authors, that's a huge category. So
yeah, and authors are just a small little niche of my market. I mean, I've got doctors, I've got all kinds of clients. At first, when I first started, I was just thinking, I'm just going to go in and help with authors. And I can actually tell that story of how that all began. But now it's kind of, people come from all different walks of life and different businesses. And really, it kind of doesn't matter what you're doing. You need to be on social media. And so it's just all about knowing how to get on there and what to do, regardless of what your business is.
So I'm going to repeat for what you said, because you said it so perfectly. It doesn't matter what you were doing, because you really want to be on social media and finding a platform. And that sounds like something that you help your clients do.
Absolutely.
They're so diverse.
Absolutely.
So I know we have an anthropologist listening. You mentioned doctors. So everyone needs to have a digital presence. And that is, I think, a huge shift for most business people, because it was just running their business. And, they did some marketing or advertising, and now it's having a presence on social media. So in that vein, what are your clients asking you about? What are some of the topics they're most interested in?
So, I'm wondering, should I go back and start and introduce myself, how I got started in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for
just to get back on track.
Yes.
Everybody don't know, but we tried this once already and had a major glitch, so we're starting over. So we kind of lost our train of thought there.
Yeah.
But so in 2008, my best friend of 30 years, Stacy, and I wrote our first children's book. We're working on the parenting book. And so we wrote an alphabet book, and we started a blog called intentionalconsciousparenting.com. And one reason we started to do this is because children have always been a passion of ours, and our children were grown and out of the house. So we said, why don't we do this? Let's start working on it. Well, while we're writing it and working on it, then I was thinking, well, what next? How is anyone going to even know who we are? What do you do? And then I heard Reed Tracy, CEO of Hay House, say, I don't buy books, I buy platforms. So then I was like, well, what the heck is a platform? And your author platform is your entire presence. So it's your website, it's your Facebook following, your Twitter following, it's your newsletter list. It's everything all in one. So like if you were to go to a publisher and try and get published, they would want to know the size of your platform. And even now when businesses sell themselves, or, pass on their business, that all counts. That's all added to the pile. So we began with the blog and working on that. And we were lucky enough right away, we had authors come to us and start asking us if we could help promote them. And at the time there was a platform called Blog Frog. And so we would get on there and we would host our authors, and now we can talk and see each other. Then it was just this typing chat, and we would just have a live chat with the authors, and the parents could ask their questions. And at that time we had Dr. Shefali Talsbury come to us, the author of The Conscious Parent, and we reviewed her book and shared some of her articles, and we did a live chat with her. And we were lucky enough, she actually wrote a foreword to our children's book.
Cheers.
Which is, yes, thank you, which is in the illustration stage. And then we had other authors coming to us like Annie Burnside of Soul to Soul Parenting, and Kathy Kasani Adams, and just in that realm. And then I had people asking if, I could help them and could help them out on social media, and how do I do it? And then that's the first time I really started, and that was about 2010. That's the first time I really started looking at it as a business aspect. Okay. And then I came across Kate Buck Jr., and she was brand new, probably the first person I ever seen put out any kind of training on how to do social media online. So I took her course. So it was like in the first groups that took her course. And so created my business and went from there. And that's what I do. It keeps me busy.
Yeah. And I think that gives you a great perspective, because you came from a need of wanting to share, like you say, amplify your message. So some of the pitfalls entrepreneurs, especially older entrepreneurs, encounter along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, it's hard to keep up for a lot of people. It changes a lot. And, and like you said, older entrepreneur could be someone in their 20s. I think we've all thought everybody was older.
Right.
And in my 40s, I get classified old all the time. But to me, age is a state of mind. In a past life, I was a caregiver and took care of a wonderful lady named Ruth who lived to be 100.
Wow.
So I'm just getting started in my mind.
Absolutely. And that's why I love the conversations around encores, because we have so many opportunities to reinvent ourselves, and like you in another life. And now you're a social media trainer.
Right. Your identities and roles are going to change throughout your life. That's
exactly.
the fun part.
And that, I think, I had a conversation earlier with Nancy, the anthropologist, where she mentioned the curation of stories and all that experience that we bring with us to each stage of our life. So I think, there's as an entrepreneur, you benefit from the experience you have, but need to, or I was going to say, you don't have to do anything, but to stay open to social media and how it can broadcast your message to more people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A favorite new quote of mine is from Grant Cardone, and he has like the whole 10X system. And he's like, it's not who you know, it's how many people know you. Yeah. Because you got to think, look at how many people are competing to get noticed. Yeah. And the cool thing is social media does level the playing field. Obviously, if you're spending $5 a day on Facebook versus somebody who can spend 10,000, that's a big difference. Right. But still, it does level the playing field, especially with a platform like Blab.
Definitely.
That opens huge doors for people.
Yeah, and as Nancy was saying, it's the for real conversation, and we spoke in another Blab about the intimacy, because it is a visual platform.
We can see each other.
That really helps. So, might this be a good time to talk about some of the things your clients are most interested in, or
Sure, absolutely.
Great.
My clients usually come to me wanting to know how the heck I kind of got two categories. I've got the group that understands it. They know they need to be on it. It's vital for their business, but they don't have the time. So they're like, come help me manage all my stuff. So I do that. I'm on all the major platforms and I amplify their brand, and we create a strategy together and we work on that. And then on the other hand, I have a group of people that come to me and say, I don't even know how to make a Facebook page. I don't know how to schedule a post. I don't know when I should be on. I don't understand any of this. I'm from the dark ages. And it's like, well, we all were from the dark ages at some point. We have to learn this, and us people who kind of get into the tech part of it a little bit easier, it was a little bit easier for us. So I literally walk them through the steps of how they can do it themselves. I'm actually in the middle of creating a basic Facebook training course that I've almost completed till my computer went down. So I've almost got that finished, and that's at socialmediahelpforyou.biz. And it's going to be a very affordable course that will walk you through what I would be walking you through on the phone.
Okay. And Nancy does have a question. She said, do you get them to use HootSuite, or do you do it for them? So
both.
Again, okay,
both. Depends on what the client wants.
Okay.
But yes, I love HootSuite for scheduling content.
Me too.
I like to do a combo of scheduled content and live engagement. And there's nothing that beats live, and even more, people know when it's something scheduled. They kind of frown on that anymore, especially Facebook. I kind of like just to hop on there and go post something live, or schedule it right in the Facebook scheduler. I just am a little bit more fond of how it looks coming that way versus coming from HootSuite. But for Twitter, HootSuite is really great. And you can schedule Instagram and then go in and publish it through there is a new addition.
Yeah. And I think for those of you who are not familiar with HootSuite, there is a paid version and there is a free version, and it's great. It's a great tool to use because we can't be everywhere.
You can't. And if you've got an audience that is in different time zones, and you want to make sure you can get a message out to all of them, you can schedule it, at different times of the day. So that helps too.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned connecting with some of the, again, with Hay House. What are some of the other, I'll say, professional or personal opportunities that working in social media has given you by using this platform, or any platform out there?
Any platform. Well, let's see here. Opportunities, it's opened doors. It's brought me more business because more people have seen that I'm here and I exist. Right. And I hear it all the time. A lot of people are like, well, I need help, but I don't know where to go looking. And so if you're not out there front and center, they're not sure you're even there. So by being active with my blog and on my website, that's helped me gain organic traffic through Google. But then I've met different people in Facebook groups. I've met different clients that come through Pinterest. And my very first client, that was a paid client, came through Twitter. And she actually had started and she's a public speaker, and she actually just moved back to Ireland. But she had actually had a Twitter profile and hadn't done anything with it in a while. So I tweeted back to her and said, looks like you could use some help. And it started a whole dialogue. She just happened to catch that tweet email and started a whole dialogue. But probably the biggest highlight, well, and then, I've had people like Guy Kowski, retweet my stuff but the biggest highlight probably is that Dr. Shefali had written us a foreword for our children's book. And just kind of opening some doors there.
Yeah. So tell me, if you can, I'm going to ask you to tease that out a little bit. Did you meet Dr. Shefali on Twitter, or how did you connect with her?
It was a PR person of hers that had emailed us through our website. So it's important to have your contact information listed on your website. I used to put out our email address. Now, I do a contact form is what I do, and have people contact me that way, because if you have your email address, you're more likely to start getting a whole bunch of spam.
Okay, so there's a couple takeaways there. You may, instead of just having your email address on there, you might want to do a contact form that goes
Yes.
to your email address as opposed to broadcasting
Yeah.
your email address online. Any other tips for getting people? You drive them to your website because of your contact on your blog.
Right.
Any tips for converting them to get them to email you? Are you doing any top 10 anything or best reasons, or how
Best
do you
ways to get them there?
Yes.
Let's see. Well, I also want to go back to the contact form.
Please.
You not only can add that to your website, you can add a contact form to your Facebook page. So somebody can go right there and fill out the form and connect with you. So I don't recall what the app was, but I can, if you were to go, here's a way you find what these apps are. You go to somebody's page on Facebook. Like, for instance, if you go to, you could go to Dr. Copeland or Maureen Simon or Elaine Seiler. I think she has her books on there. And you can see a tab where somebody can purchase your book right from your Facebook page.
Okay.
If you go to the very bottom, you can usually see the little app they're using to add that tab.
Got it.
So the forms, I think, are WUFU, WUFO or FU, something like that.
Okay.
WUFU forms. But
yeah, Nancy's got another question. She said she's been told that big brands may not want to connect with you or who will not use contact forms. Any experience there?
No, I haven't really had anybody not interested in it. Now, like if I'm talking to people through a different platform, such as there's a place called Thumbtack where you can put your services and list. And so I will, I'll give them my phone, my cell phone. We'll text back and forth and then set up our time to talk. Texting is becoming really popular as well for engaging.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it is easier to get a hold of me through text than through an email because I have so many emails and sometimes that is at the end of my day.
Well, and it's right there in front of you usually and it pops up and yeah, I agree. I email quite a bit with my clients and we do a lot of texting too. It just depends on what package they've purchased and how much time they get of me. But we do emails, we do scheduled calls, and we do texting when needed, especially if it's like there's something on their Facebook page they need to personally respond to right away. I'll text them and be like, did you see that? We need to answer this. Customer service needs to be prompt.
Right. I was going to say, with all this being able to connect one another, you hit on a very important point for every entrepreneur is that response time to your customer service questions, whether it's service or just information. I've noticed the last few times I've had like 3 or 4 days before someone replies to me, and then you've moved on to somebody else.
Yes. Well, we live in a time period where everybody wants instant gratification, including your customers or a disgruntled customer. And so, yeah, it's and if you have on Facebook your messages set up on your business page, after so long, it shows how long it takes you to respond. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can have some canned messages ready to go out.
Right.
And you can put the Pages Manager app on your phone so you see incoming stuff right away and respond promptly. Or you can turn it off and do the one-to-many where they need to ask it right on your page and you answer and everybody sees your question and answers.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's good advice. And again, we're recording this, so I'll make sure and point that out because I think that's an important thing for people to understand. Let's see. We're starting to wrap this up. So as a boomer entrepreneur, any insights, and I think you're a pre-boomer entrepreneur into starting a business?
Oh, goodness. Let's see. In starting a business, kind of take a hard look at what you want and map it out, map out your steps of what you need to do, learn social media, and just don't give up on yourself because it's not easy. And surround yourself with a network, just like you, getting to connect and make a connection and work together on something. Build your network of people.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. We had Nancy, I want to say it's at Nerthus, and I apologize if I'm murdering that, but talked about that power of that network and supporting one another in the work we do, because we all cross each other's paths, especially on social media.
Yes, and it's fun when you come back and you're like, oh, I saw you here and there. Now we get to meet. And yes,
exactly.
Build those relationships. Same thing with your customers and your audience. Build those relationships. That's where we're headed. That's the key. It's not so much content anymore. It's the relationships.
Wow, that is great advice.
Word of mouth. Think of it. Word of mouth travels fast.
And here's the thing now, there are so many platforms where it really is word of mouth.
Yes, absolutely. And it's quick.
And it's quick because it's either on Blab, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, how quickly those messages go out. And you touched on it earlier, Instagram.
Yes.
That is
I'll give you one
powerful.
more tip. I know you need to go. One more tip. I really find that in the evening is when Instagram really hops for me. So I'll make my graphics maybe earlier, like on canva.com. And then, they have a free platform, but also they have a little bumped up upgraded version for $12.95 a month, where you can make one graphic and resize it for all the platforms. I love that. So then you email yourself the Instagram one from your computer. And then when you're sitting there watching TV in the evening, go share it on Instagram and add your little words of wisdom and add your hashtags. And yeah, evening's a good time for me on Instagram.
Great. And Carol's out of Montana, so factor that time frame in if you're not in that central time zone, I think.
Mountain.
Yeah, mountain time. So your mountain time. So that might be something you pursue. So again, some great advice for entrepreneurs of every age from Carol Lawrence at Social Media Help for You. We're wrapping up. And any last words of wisdom before we go, Carol?
Be yourself. Let people get to know you. And most likely just get out there and just get started.
All right, you heard it from Carol Lawrence. Get started. This is Judy Bonilla with Encorepreneur 101, and this has been Encore Chat. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.